Welcome back to episode 2 of Ask the Boss. My name's Dot.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Meg. And this is Arlo, our special guest.
Okay, girls, so it is my week to bring the drinks, and I have brought them. So while I go off mic, I want to hear your reaction. And actually, technically, Heather, you are the only one that doesn't know what this is. But Meg, I expect squeals of enjoyment.
I accidentally looked at it.
I have genuine, anxious butterflies.
Right. Close your eyes. There you go. Meg.
Oh, it's heavy.
There you go.
It's so heavy.
And
That's so
two.
cool.
There's 2 for the boys as well, but let's see your reaction first. Open them.
Oh, is it a pin?
Which has been I've been so looking forward to it because the weather's been ridiculously hot.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Pims is going to be so good. And then today it rained.
Yep, well.
The weather's going downhill, but my brother actually discovered Pims for the first time recently.
Oh.
I couldn't believe he's never had
with
it.
Boys, do you want to get yours?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, girls, should we cheers?
Cheers!
Shall I do a cheers over there? Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers over there.
Cheers.
Cheers. So tell us, how was your brother's first time drinking Pims?
He got a picture of Pims.
Yeah.
And then we went to the cricket with my family at the weekend, and all he wanted to do was drink Pims. He was just like, how have I never discovered Pims before? This is amazing.
It is good.
A picture of Pims is dangerous territory, though.
Oh, my first time getting very, very drunk and being sick was on Pims.
Was it?
Well, no, my first time being sick on alcohol was vodka, obviously. But then, my fundamental, okay, wow, I didn't realise that something so delicious could kill me inside and outside was Pims.
It is dangerous, but it's the best. So thank you very much for that.
I like your choice of fruit.
I feel like you should fill the whole glass up with fruit, but mine's only a little bit.
No, you've done well, considering we haven't got any ice here, which, note to self.
We have.
needs
There was
its
ice.
Was there?
Yeah.
Where has it gone?
It's been a while since
fine.
I made these drinks. There was ice originally, so this might be a slightly watered down Pims.
I take it back. Very
But
happy.
yes, welcome back, everybody. This is episode 2 of Ask the Boss. We are so glad that you are here.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are obviously very new to this, and last week's episode went down really, really well. So thank you for all of your interaction. It means a lot to us. And the main thing that Frank and Miles are telling us to say is please, please leave a review on Spotify. It's not something that I was ever aware of. So me, who listens to lots of podcasts, has never done this before. So I feel like probably lots of you haven't either. So please do it.
I never used to engage the way I do now because you just don't realise how much it
We
really
talked
helps.
about this yesterday, weren't we?
Yeah.
I scroll through TikTok and didn't ever like anything. I didn't comment on anything, and now I really make an effort to because you know how much of a difference it makes.
It does make a big
I
difference.
really deep it when I like someone and I'm like, oh, I really need to engage with their content. I really need to support them. It feels like supporting a small business because a small creator is almost a small business.
Yeah, and it does make a big difference, especially the algorithm. But one thing we worked out from last week is it seemed pretty much the whole thing that we were just bullying Heather.
Yes, I felt really bad afterwards.
And
During.
Well, yeah, I had no idea. And
Maybe I'm used to it because I didn't feel it.
No, you were right. But Frank said that later that there was a podcast that he was listening to where there was someone who was always getting bullied, and in the comments and in the reviews, it's like, oh, we feel really sorry for blah, blah. So if you feel sorry for Heather, let us know.
So if you feel sorry for me, I would really appreciate some support, and then maybe I can actually...
We love Heather Club.
Or have a go at bullying Heather with us.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, you could join in.
Or have a go at Megan Dot for me and fight my case and fight my corner because I'm a little bit alone over here.
Yeah, the Gen Z club. Meg doesn't like being called a millennial.
I'm
gonna get
on the
Swifties on
cusp.
you.
The Swifties.
Yeah, they're known on the internet to be the most ferocious fans. If
Oh,
you say
for Taylor
anything against Taylor
Swift.
Swift, you are in dangerous territory.
Yeah, I've never
And
been
I
in that
went
world.
to the Eras tour, so I think that puts
Did
me in
you?
the club, and I have an Eras tour bracelet.
Oh yeah, you do, don't you? Very
be
cute.
careful.
Very, very cute.
What I have in my arsenal is the Swifties.
Do you like Taylor Swift?
Neutral. She's
don't
good.
say anything about it.
I do like her,
need
but I'm
the
not.
follow-
I'm
we
not a
need the
Swiftie.
We need the
interaction.
Taylor Swift fans.
Yes, we love Taylor Swift. Don't come for us.
Or actually come for us. Just come to our podcast. Write a review. Tell us how. I don't really care. Anyway, talking about millennial, talking about being old. How did we feel about going to a cleaning event the other day? She's drinking a big gulp.
Had to have some Pims. Yes, we went to the culture event, which was very, very exciting.
We did.
I managed to... You're right. Did you just spill Pims on yourself?
I tried to get the things underneath the mic and put it down. I just completely clanged the mic.
I wonder how long it'll take for us to like just feel like this is another part of our body.
Be normal.
Not very, like a very long time, I think.
Yeah, I think we're going to struggle a little bit with these drinks.
You can say what you were saying about the culture event.
We did go to a culture event and it was really, really fun. I wormed me and Heather into the event because Dot was invited and we weren't. So we managed to get in and it was a really great evening.
It was really fun.
Quite shocked at how hot it was. All of us were like
So
beading with sweat.
insanely hot.
I do wish it was a like fan company that we went to.
Yeah, they were lacking on the fan front.
I think this is a good, if any brand is listening or anyone that works in these sort of events, if you are going to do an event and you know it's going to, I know you don't know it's going to be hot, but if it's in July, right, in London, have like those little handheld fans with your brand on them.
That would have been good. It would have been in every photo.
And even if it's not hot, okay, well, you've got them in your arsenal for next time there's an event and it's hot. But imagine if they had those.
Or
Imagine
just
if they were
give
handing them
them
out.
away.
That would have been good.
We would have created so much content around that.
Like the trainers, if you gave them away like
Oh yeah, the
the
trainers.
fans, I would be using that fan daily.
I don't know if anyone saw it on. I think I posted it on your guys'
did,
reels as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
They had these trainers that they were white, sort of. I don't know what you call them, similar to your Vasia ones, but they had the K of the culture in yellow, and we were all like, "Give me some of those trainers."
But yeah, it was a really good event. It was nice to actually meet people in real life as well.
Yeah,
'Cause
there's a lot of people on there.
We were talking about like you are supporting like small businesses, you are creating creators and everything, and you actually then get to meet these people in their real life. So we also met Donatella from Proud Weirdos, who
So
we absolutely
nice.
loved. It was so interesting meeting someone that you kind of hear and see and listen to a lot online, and then you actually hear their real voice. And Donatella was saying that in her reel that she did, that she got a black eye, and I remember walking in and she was like, "Have I got something in my eye? Is there something there?" And I was like, "Oh my god, yeah, you've cut yourself."
Yeah, she
and-
whacked herself in the face with her bag, didn't she, or
Yeah.
something?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, you got too drunk because you didn't eat anything. Dot has a real good habit of not eating before we do things, and in your defence, you can't eat gluten, but you had a packet of crisps and a dip for lunch, and then we got there and there was nothing that was really gluten-free.
There was nothing gluten-free.
So you just had 10 Prosecco's and got hammered.
I got very drunk. Well, I was the whole event, and I would love for you to back me up here. The whole event, I felt like, while of course I did get tipsy, I wasn't
It was
I wasn't
afterwards when you just went
incoherent.
silent.
Like
No.
I was like networking. I was chatting to
Yeah.
people. I was introducing people. I was like on like good form.
You were,
and then it
absolutely
was like
were.
as if as soon as we left and we sat down at this pub,
Just
I went,
drained out of you.
"Oof,
Yeah.
I am very very drunk."
You
sat
wanted
at
to
the
dance a
pub.
little bit.
We sat at the pub. You did a little dance.
Did I dance?
You
Yeah.
did a little dance in the pub. After the pub, we were sat outside, and you just kind of
Dead
like that
stare.
for like an hour.
Me and Heather were just chatting away.
Meg kept being like, "Ooh, you okay?" And you're like, "Yeah."
Oh, and then you poured Prosecco all over me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
you
force
didn't
it,
want your drink, so you poured it
but I missed
no-
the
with
cup.
no
in
notice.
the vicinity of Meg's glass, but not in Meg's glass.
Just into my
So
lap.
it just went straight into her lap and onto the floor.
And that was the time we were like, should we go home now?
And then you went straight back to staring into the abyss.
Yeah, but then I remember we got on the tube and I felt like I was normal again.
No,
No?
you were better on the tube.
I felt like there was like
I
conversations.
don't know how normal it can get when the whole way home you were asleep, and every time we were like, "Do you want to come in for some food?" You were like,
No, that was in the car.
Oh, in the car, you
Albeit
zonked
the
out.
car was not. That car was.
Yeah,
I
but
was
you
like,
can't
this is
get back to
sleeping
normal
time
if
now.
that was like to come afterwards.
Yeah, I do remember you stopping one particular gentleman and asking him for a photo.
Oh yeah, because Heather thought he was fit. Nothing came of it.
No, because obviously I'm just going to sit there and do nothing.
Also, it should have been you asking, really. Like,
Yeah,
I wasn't
but
trying to get it
I
in.
just went quiet and scared, and Meg was like, "Fuck, I'm going to do it then. I'm going to do it because you're not going
We
to do
got a
it."
nice
Heather."
photo. That was all. I was
We did get a photo.
glazed over my eyes.
And I
but
got a video of Dot glazed over with Meg like putting the bag on her shoulder
Yeah, I have a glass
and
of
like
Prosecco in
fixing
my hand,
her
don't
up.
I?
And then you kind of had like a
Here we go again. No,
I
I'm
was
glad
really
you took.
drunk too. I just had to be the mum in the situation.
You were the mum in the situation.
Had to
I
be
was
done.
the mum in the situation.
Oh, you were definitely
I
the mum.
drove you
the designated
home.
Yeah,
driver.
you did drive us home.
Well, anyway, this episode
It's
which I'm
about our
shocked-
actual mother.
It's about the actual mother of the podcast.
The DIY mother.
And I'm surprised we haven't had you pull us back to this conversation.
No,
'cause it's always
because
about
I'm more
you.
like humble and you know, I don't know, talking about myself.
Humble is your middle name.
Fuck off.
The humble faffing nest. The faffing humble nest.
The humble home. Yeah,
The humble home.
that's me.
So go on then. Tell us all about you.
It's really hard when suddenly you kind of get the limelight on you.
Why did you buy the house?
So actually, we had a renovation before the one we've got now.
Yeah.
But I did it. We did it. My dad did it.
I did it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was still at uni, and my dad's a property developer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, how did I not know that?
Yep, my
I
dad's a
feel
property
like I should
developer.
have known that, but I didn't realise.
My whole family are, basically. I was dating Steph, who is now my husband, so you can guess where the story went with that one. We'd rented a flat in Poole, and we wanted to move into somewhere, and so we were looking at like an actual house together. And this is where my dad kind of swooped in and said, what if I bought a house, fix it up, split it down the middle, turned it into 2 dwellings. You and Steph can live on one side. I will sell the other side. And then by selling that, I make my money back. So he actually didn't make any profit. The profit he made was being able to have me and Steph have our own house. That was like his profit. So he broke even, didn't lose any money, but Steph and I got a house, which was obviously great for us.
Smart plan.
He made us work for it in the sense of we were spending all our weekends, and any time that we weren't at uni, we were wallpaper stripping.
I didn't realise it was while you were at uni.
Yeah. So we were living in like dust and squalor, and it was horrible, but obviously worth it. So I massively got my bug from him. However, the one thing I remember is he'd always be like, okay, what colour do you want this wall? And I was like, oh, okay. I'll go away and think about it. No.
Now.
I'm buying the paint now. What colour do you want this wall? And I knew about Farrenball, I knew about Dulux. That was it. I didn't know anything else. I didn't know about consistencies. I didn't know about colour shades. I didn't know about north facing light. I didn't know any of this stuff. So
I'm sat here thinking I don't know about any of the things you just said. So
well, that's where I was at. I was literally just, and so I remember going into the first shop I could think of, looked down, saw a colour called Goose Down, chose it. I think I do remember actually putting a sample on the wall because, I saw like someone on TikTok did it,
And you just looked at it like, it's a colour.
It's a greyish colour. Great. Okay, up it went. This is when Mrs. Hinch was doing grey and grey velour. When Mrs. Hinch.
What, you went down that route?
Yeah. Because that was what the trend was. She hadn't bought her cottage house with,
Did you ever see Mrs. Hinch
who's
Grey?
Mrs. Hinch?
So Mrs. Hinch is a cleaning influencer.
Okay.
She had like a small house with her husband and her kids, and she was just doing cleaning videos. She then like got a deal with Tesco, and she started having like Mrs. Hinch Tesco F&F.
I got something from
things.
Flash the other day that was Mrs. Hinch.
She's now literally like one of the biggest cleaning influencers ever. She's done books.
Yeah, like cleaning. Yeah.
Like things to tick off your. But anyway, she's really big. Like she's best friends with Stacey Solomon.
She is very millennial though. That's probably why you don't know who she is.
Yeah, she is. White walls, grey sofas, grey plush carpets, and like that. It was a whole look. It was what every house looked like for a while.
This face. Sorry, carry on.
And my house didn't quite look like that, but it was getting that way. And so everyone, like, she has these hordes of people following her, having that look in their house. And then she buys this beautiful older. It's got like oak frames at the front. Like it's got old-fashioned cottage-style bricks with mortar in between. Like really beautiful. And so suddenly she goes all like proper cottagecore, oak.
What she bought was a house, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Okay. And I remember there being a bit of backlash because all these people being like, but I just bought a £3,000 grey sofa because that's what you like. What now you've changed your mind. Now you're into something else. But that's the thing with trends. Like you either follow trends or you don't. If you follow trends, be ready to be disappointed.
You can't be mad at the trendsetter for the fact that you just followed blindly into what they did.
People get mad.
Oh, yeah,
But people get mad about everything.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's true.
Mike.
It's
So, but yeah, so it was very
Did you just
boring.
apologise to the microphone?
Yeah, no, I apologised to Frank. For
Yeah, I
hitting
thought she
the
said,
microphone.
sorry, Mike Frank.
Okay, that's you, Mike. Mike Frank.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so I just remember being rushed for a lot of decisions, and also I remember I really wanted to panel the back room, like desperately wanted to panel, like the like MDF strips where you just make it so it's kind of like, and there's like a little board on top. I really wanted to do that, but I honestly had no idea where you even start. I had no tools whatsoever. I definitely couldn't like cut down a large piece of sheeting. I'd have to go to B&Q and get it cut by the B&Q team. And I remember talking to my dad, and like, this is going to sound like there's bad blood. There was at the beginning when this happened, but it's completely over now. But
I'd hope so. How many years ago was
this was quite a few. This was like 5 years ago. But he very much was like two things. One, look, honestly, your walls are going to be uneven. You're going to have really struggle to make it look good. I wouldn't bother. And then he was also like, you are trying to sell this house. This isn't your forever home. This is a house that you are going to sell. Why bother? And this kind of was actually kind of the crux of everything I'm going to talk about in this episode, because he didn't mean to, but that was like the first time someone underestimated me or underestimated what I believe to be true. Because now I know that actually a house that has beautiful paneling and colours that aren't grey and that have been lived in and loved going to sell so much quicker and do so much better than a absolute white box that all someone's going to do is go, what, I can't see myself living in this.
It's the vision.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure white boxes do sell, and I'm sure there'll be people who disagree or agree with what I'm about to say, but my personal opinion is don't be afraid to live in a house, even if you're going to sell it. Even if that's the plan in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years. If you're going to sell it, live in it, love it.
I think if you're flipping it, it's fair to keep it simple. But I think that
if it's down to costs,
but
absolutely.
also like you don't want to alienate people with a yellow kitchen. But
no, but there's a big difference between
you don't want it to be basic.
I want to have a yellow kitchen to I'm going to have some off-white paneling down the staircase. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like cost-wise, that is the thing that we're going to talk about a lot on, is the fact that I took this underestimation and I went, fuck you then, and I'm going to, and so I bought this house, the one I live in now, and I've always known it's going to flip it. But I've spent so much money on like scratching an itch.
You've also got to live in it while you're there, though. You've been there for like a few years now. You're not just literally like what Heather's doing is literally probably wasn't even necessarily going to live there.
But even then, even with ours, I felt very strongly the whole time about upgrading the little bits. Like the sink, instead of a stainless steel sink, we went for ceramic sink, like the white one. And all the handles we upgraded from the normal grey to gold.
Exactly.
We upgraded everything that was little, that cost a bit of money here and there, 40 quid on the sink, a couple of pounds per handle. And when people go in, it's like, wow, you can see the vision. And that hallway, like the paneling, exactly what you said. We did some paneling in our hallway. It's not paneling, it's a picture rail or dado rail.
No, but that's,
do you know what I mean?
Extra detail.
Yeah, and I do believe that if we just left it as a white box, grey kitchen, stainless steel sink, someone would come in and be like, I think that's the way you reach top money for what you're selling.
And I'm going to be really controversial here, and it might get cut out if it is too controversial. But I do think this is kind of the crux of like the difference between male and female thinking. There are going to be so many male property developers. No, but I just think that they would be like, that's fine. Because they wouldn't necessarily, these single person, they wouldn't necessarily notice if the hardware was gold rather than, and I'm not saying it's all men, I'm not saying it's all women, I'm really not making that, but I just think there is more likely that a man's going to go, well, that'll do. It's a handle that opens a drawer. You can get knives out of it. It's a kitchen, like that. To a woman who goes, no, this will actually make a difference. And then I guarantee you, when someone goes to buy it, if they're actually planning on living there, they will prefer the fact that someone has put that little bit of extra effort in.
I totally agree. I do think there's a line though, because there's like sort of a bell curve of like from the grey boring handles you're talking about to the gold ones is great, but then you won't spend, say they were £10 a handle, you're not going to spend £100 a handle.
No,
that
absolutely
difference
not.
isn't going to make a difference.
And there's stuff
but that
like
bit up is much better.
We've got alcoves, like Dot did her beautiful alcove cabinetry. And it's just not economical for me to spend, what do you spend, £500 on yours? And it's not economical.
They might not want it if they move in.
For me to do that in our alcove, because realistically isn't going to get us £500 in the sale price. So stuff like an extension or an extra bedroom or the paneling and the upgrading on small things is worth it. But when you're just plain flipping it, it's just not. There are places you have to draw a line, but because you're living in it and you are pouring your heart and soul into this project, and I think it's a labour of love as well as just a financial decision.
It's a ginormous guinea pig. That is what it is. I'm testing so many things. I think talking about the alcove cabinets, if you haven't seen, basically, I did get my dad to come back and just to say, I have asked my dad to come and help me with some things. I can name those things on one hand and still have fingers left. Like, the amount of stuff that he's come and helped me with has been huge and like have been massive parts of my renovation. Alcoves, cabinets, kitchen cabinets.
Is that all he's done?
He is coming back to help me with the front driveway, but he hasn't done that yet.
But like since I've known you, I've not known him to help with anything.
No.
I've seen him in one video of yours.
And that's on purpose. Like he does say, oh, do you want anything done? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. Thank you very much. because I really don't need, like, I only ask him. But anyway, so the cabinets, the alcove cabinets, I did them because A, yes, I wanted to scratch that itch. I wanted to do it. Also because I thought that room needed storage. And 2, the house is big enough that you can take away that space and do something like that. And it's one of those things, like, that house is 100 years old. So when you walk in and you see features that feel 100 years old, it actually feels very in style. It feels natural. It feels right to be there. But if I had bought a house that was only 50 years old or even less, that wouldn't have felt quite right, I don't think. So the lovely Arlo is here. He's
God, I don't know if I can deal with this story.
So we've had Arlo since he was a puppy, and he's nearly 5 years old. So we have lived in other houses apart from this one while having Arlo.
Did you get Arlo while you were at uni?
No,
I was going to say that's rogue.
couple of years after.
Okay.
But like not, it was during COVID.
Okay.
Because normally in a normal career track, in like a really traditional 9 to 5, you won't really get that chance to do flexi working or like working from home until maybe you're a little bit more senior or you've done the job for a bit longer. And I was like proper, me and Steph were both very junior in our roles. COVID hit, both our roles went from work to work from home, like most places did. It was a computer-y kind of digital job. And then luckily both our companies went, well, there's no point paying rent on the office anymore. Everyone can work from home. So because of that, we got a dog. Anyway, so the house that I was talking to you about where my dad split it down the middle, we lived in that half when we got Arlo as a puppy. For context, Arlo is a boy dog and he has not been neutered because he doesn't give us any signs of behavioural issues that make we're not going to mess around with his anatomy if he doesn't need to be. So he is a fully intact male dog, but brilliant, gentle, kind. Look at him. He's just chill as anything. One thing he does do is he shakes, because he's, maybe he's after a walk or whatever. If he's playing, he'll jump up or whatever. Graphic now. Sometimes he's got a little droplet of jizz from his willy.
I can't cope with this.
And so when he shakes, it goes all over the place. I was telling you earlier about a dog that bleeds from the end of his tail, and they had to get washable paint to wipe away the blood from the ceiling and the walls. Arlo's problem is he splatters jizz everywhere. The colour of Arlo's jizz is the colour of my kitchen cabinets. Small kitchen.
It's not blue, is it?
Taupe colour. The colour of Arlo's jizz is the same colour as Farrow and Bull drop cloth.
I want my grandma to listen to this podcast, and every single
quite an
time.
apt name.
No, but okay.
So
okay.
it just
Okay. Let's forget about the disgustingness of that. I'm giving you some good advice. If you have a male or dog that jizzes somewhere regularly,
look at him. He's embarrassed. He's leaving.
Match the colours to your house rather than having to clean it all the time. If I had a white cabinet or a black cabinet, I'd be cleaning jizz constantly. But in this case,
how constantly?
Quite a lot.
I'm not coming round again, sorry.
That's it, we're done. Never going to Doc's house
we're
again.
hanging out at mine from now on.
Sure.
In my tiny ground floor 2-bed flat instead of your lovely house. Because of that story.
Cabinets. I mean, I didn't think it was that gross. I think because I'm a dog owner, it's like that is actually the least of the concerns I've had with Arlo. The same way that I have cream sofas. That was obviously a big mistake in the sense of muddy paw prints, but actually his hair is cream and it gets everywhere, so now you can't see all his hairs. If I had a dark
until
sofa,
you stand up and then it's all over you.
Yeah, but only if I'm wearing black. But if I was wearing cream all the time, you'd never know.
Is that why your overalls are cream?
Why my
and why you're
overalls
wearing
are white.
that's your colour is cream?
Yes, I can match him.
Match his fur and his jizz.
But this is the thing, I think these are some of these things that you only realise when you start living somewhere. That you've got to match your house to the way you live. And I'm not getting rid of Arlo.
Or just get your dog neutered, one of the two.
I think he would still... Oh, maybe not if his balls are gone.
I don't know what just happened, to be honest with you.
Heather's now shut down.
Heather's also not really a dog person, so just me
I'm a
talking
dog
about
person, but I'm not a dog jizz person.
No.
Don't say that.
Well, you're used to girl dogs, really,
no,
aren't you?
I'm not. All my dogs have been boys. That's one way to look at it.
Your current kitchen is the kitchen that matches.
My current kitchen is my jizz kitchen.
We can move on from the jizz. We can just talk about your kitchen. We can segue into something a little bit nicer. That's where I was going with this.
Let's rewind and go somewhere else.
Every time, and she's going to bring it. She's going to bring it right back every single time.
Boiling hot. Yeah. What do you want to know about my kitchen?
I do actually have a question. So the knock through is a question as well. But my other question is that you have really lovely coffee alcove situations.
Love my coffee nook, don't you?
I absolutely love them because I went and saw like a really nice kitchen company locally that we were going to work with, but because they're a small business, they just couldn't offer us the kind of discount to take us down to just a plain old, not plain old, but like a standard kitchen from a big retailer. But they had these gorgeous coffee nooks, bar nooks, and for me it just wasn't worth the money. Why did you decide it was like worth it?
I just did it where it was just a dresser on top. That was all it is. It's drawers underneath, a worktop, and then a dresser unit on top. The dresser unit, I do remember, was expensive in the sense of compared to a wall unit, but not that much more than a wall unit, a large wall
It
unit.
looks way better than if you had wall units over there as
100%.
well.
I don't have a single wall unit. I hate wall units. I'm anti wall units. I'd much rather have open shelving and
now you say it.
tall
Yeah, it's true.
cabinets.
Yeah.
I have no wall units. The butler's pantry is a bigger, like, wow, that's expensive. Why did you go for that? And I'd always wanted a butler's pantry to hide all my appliances. Again, if you think of my house, my kitchen, no appliances are on show. And obviously the coffee nook hides my kettle. The truth is obviously I had a budget for my kitchen, and I think my budget was 20k for everything. That's the knock through, that's the plastering, that's the floor, that's the lighting, that's the plumbing, the doors and the windows, everything. So with all that being said, I did have a little bit left over, like budget wise. So I went with Smart Kitchens for my kitchen, and I did get a discount for working with them on a collaboration basis. And so there were just a few things that I just knew I wanted to take full advantage of. And I knew I was going to have a butler's pantry. I knew I wasn't going to have any wall units. I knew I was going to have an island with storage, and I knew I was going to have a little coffee nook because I love tea and coffee. Well, I actually didn't drink coffee at the time, so it's going to be a tea nook.
So I suppose it comes down to like the sway you have between I'm just flipping this house and I'm living in it, so I want to love it. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like where you sit on that.
That's a really good question, because I'm going to basically change your question completely to a question that
Fantastic.
I can answer.
Sounds good.
Classic.
There is a big difference, and what would I have done differently if I was purely flipping it? I actually don't know if I would have changed much, because again, it's like
You wouldn't have done the herringbone floor.
I wouldn't have done the herringbone floor.
Dot did her herringbone floor on her own, which is
Well,
ridiculous.
no, Steph did help.
Well,
but
I mean, not
I
paying
didn't pay someone to do it, and I did it over Christmas. I remember I was doing it on Christmas Day. I was laying my floor on Christmas
Have you
Day.
finished it?
It is finished.
Is it finished
There is
in that
one
doorway?
bit peeled. Oh yeah, yeah.
That
So I
one
thought you were talking about in my
doorway.
kitchen. That's in my hallway.
Your little border.
I
between your
know.
kitchen
I
and
do
your
not
living room.
finish a project.
Something
Yeah.
about like, I don't know if you ever have it, but when I'm eating, this is related. If I'm eating, the last mouthful of food to me is just like, for some reason, the minute that there's one more mouthful of food, I'm like, I don't want it. Actually,
Really?
that's the last thing in the world I want to eat right now is that last mouthful. And my family make fun of me because it's called a titanope when you have one mouthful of food or a tiny wee bit of food left on your
Is
plate.
that like the actual name?
The actual name for it is a titanope of food. And it's the same thing with DIY projects. When I get to the end of it and there's just the tiniest last bit to do, I'm like, actually, that's the last thing in the world that I want to do is finish. It's 90% sanded, but I can't be bothered to do that last 10%. Every DIY job I pick up, I majority finish. And then there's just that last little bit that I'm like, really don't want to go back to that. It's like getting all the stuff back out.
I thought that was the 80-20 rule, where you spend
That might be a
20%
thing.
of the time doing 80% of the project, but you spend 80% of the time doing the last
I was
20%
literally
of the
thinking about
project.
this the other day because I was talking to someone about how I'm very, it was you, very 80-20.
Who else do we talk to, guys?
Yeah, only each other. But I was like, what is it actually? Because I think there's quite a few different meanings to 80-20.
Yeah, I've heard of 80-20 in a relationship sense.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of it.
Oh, mine's only DIY. The
This is
only
project-
ever
I keep
related
telling
thing
you.
I've
Yeah.
ever heard of 80-20
It's a project management thing, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but basically, I think it's you're happy rather than being perfectionist. We need to get to 100%. You're happy with 80% really good, and then 20% being all right, or something. Like there's that as well. Like rather than being like I must have it perfect, which is kind of similar. I would rather have it done, but 80%
It's a
good.
bit like the angel
I
numbers.
don't
you
know
know,
if
Yeah,
that's
it's like a
20
Fibonacci thing. Like it just
really well.
works with everything.
I'd like someone to correct me on that though, because I know there are a few different things of it, and I think we've
I
just
don't want
made
anyone
up
to
3
correct
more.
me. I just want
I
them
know.
to believe in me. Believe what I
Yeah,
say.
the Messiah.
What I say is fact. I surprise, surprise. I don't like being wrong. I don't like
Really?
people seeing me
Never knew that.
vulnerable. I don't like people being like, oh, I could do that better, or you haven't done that right. I don't like asking for help. I don't like any of that. But obviously that's what social media is really good for. So I still to this day I haven't really done it, but I'm trying to lean more into it. But yes, that video was me just going, hey girlies, if you want to know how to do a mat well, this is how easy it can be. Like, that was my premise. That was my concept. And I just got like told thousands of times, not only was my cut awful, which, guys, first time ever cutting into a floor, but second, and it also wasn't actually that bad, and I'm covering up trim anyway, but then also people being like, oh, you've completely ruined your floor, you're going to get moisture in there. And I'm like, who the hell dumps like an entire can of water on their mat well? Like, I don't. I use it to just brush my feet.
Yeah, for context, the mat well is like a built-in doormat.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was.
Dot cut out of her herringbone floor that you painstakingly laid. And then everyone on the internet got very mad, and it wasn't a baity video.
It really wasn't.
And then it ended up...
I just threw it out on a Saturday, like, here's
to
how to do
begin
a
with,
mat
you
well.
were like, oh my God, the haters are here, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it gets you a lot of interaction and it gets your video out further. And then eventually we were like, 2 weeks later, we were on holiday, the holiday that Heather got left out of, and we didn't know that she was upset about it.
That one again.
Yeah, let's not bring that up. But it was like weeks later, and you got a notification about it, and I was like, Dot, why have you still got your notifications on for that awful post? And you did eventually turn the comments off. It was clearly awful for your mental health. But we got there in the end.
It was great for my reach, but
it's hard, I think, as like I feel the same as Dot when like, it's not necessarily asking for help because I know that I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel such cringe and embarrassment when I've done something wrong. Like when I first posted videos and people would be like, that's not what that's called, that's not how you lay that, oh my gosh, that's so awful, imagine who buys this house, they're gonna like, everything's awful. Yeah, at the beginning, before the algorithm pushed our videos to the right people, and the same people that like our content engage with it and keep coming back, all the girls really. But when at the beginning it was more men that saw it, when we got more like hate, and I felt such embarrassment for not knowing what I was doing and being like, oh my God, I called a wrench a spanner, and everyone's, and like to the extent
people really
that
call you out for calling a wrench a spanner?
It's literally, there's like 400 videos on a Unilad post about that, and it's just like, do you know what? That's why there's a video. You can just literally see what it is. And but I felt such like, to the extent that I wanted to archive the post or take them down, because I just felt so cringe and embarrassed that I'd said it wrong. But it's just like, no one knows. This is not something you learn at school.
No, it really isn't.
Like, you're teaching yourself / like with a bit of knowledge from your dad and stuff, but it's not something that anyone ever was like, right, do's and don'ts of DIY. Like, here's all the things, here's what they're called.
The whole point is that we're learning how to do it.
But I think it's really brave of you, and I know this is like going to sound really patronizing again, but when I post a video, if I actually don't, because I'm so afraid of getting something wrong, probably for some deep-rooted personality trait of mine, before I will even post something, I will kind of check my facts. I'll double check. I'll like go to ChatGPT, take a photo of something and say, what is this? Or I'll Google like spannery type thing, wait until I see a picture and find out what the actual thing is called, so I name it correctly, so I don't get these comments. Because I've named it the correct thing.
Yeah, you try so hard, so then when it comes back on you, like neither me or Heather, I think, try that hard with it. So if we get called out, it's like, oh, right, okay, I was just wrong. But for
I think
you,
that's
it's
really
harder.
I actually think it's a bit mushy, but I think that's actually really brave of you to be just put your stuff on the internet and not be so scared of what someone. I know you're saying that like once you'd done it, you felt cringe, and you know, thankfully you didn't, but you were going to potentially take it down. I'm glad you didn't, and I'm sorry that you felt that way at the time. But like, there's something so lovely in just that kind of, fuck it, I'm just going to post it. And I think that's kind of what we're also telling people that they can do. Like, if you've got a story to tell, don't be afraid, like I was, to like say something wrong, because A, your story matters just as much as anyone else's, but 2, great engagement for
It's
being
stupid,
wrong.
isn't it? Yeah.
And it also shows that even if you said it the wrong way, you done it a little bit wrong, you
Well,
still
you
did
learn.
it. You still did it. You
Still did it.
succeeded.
Yeah.
You still saved the money. You still
And if it
renovated the
didn't go
house.
well, then you can make a video being like, how do I solve this? Like, asking questions. And there are people on the internet. I know you have a lot of people who actually come to your aid and they help you.
I'm always asking questions. My whole motto is don't ask, don't get.
Yeah.
But also I realised that we don't know anything. The internet does, using it slightly for engagement, but really the amount I've learned from just being like, hey guys, how does this work? It's been really helpful. And the one video that went off for us that had all the hate comments, and initially I was like, oh, well, why are you? And then I realised that we were smashing up really rare 1920s tiles that we weren't aware of. But it meant that then we could save massive panels of it that no one wants to buy. If anyone wants to buy them, please do, because we've still got them a year later. But we now
these
know.
very expensive
Yeah,
ones.
these
that
are
everyone's
very
so
expensive.
upset about.
smashing them.
Millions of people were like, you're an asshole. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Well, I've got them. Do you want them? And no one does. Anyway, but like, I wouldn't have learnt that otherwise.
No.
And then I would have just taken it to the tip, and then it's lost forever. I do want to save these things. If we don't like them, I want someone else to be able to have them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it?
So you know how I have that little bit that juts out where the picture window is?
Yeah.
I was going to have my kitchen go all the way to that, so that the
Like
back
square it
wall,
off?
Yeah, so the back wall will be completely
It's
flat.
not a very big space, is it?
No, but then what that would have meant is that that kitchen would have been a bit bigger, and that could have stayed a kitchen.
Oh,
And
I
then
see.
what was the galley kitchen would be a utility. So you wouldn't have a big kitchen like I have now with a big open space, but you would have had a separate utility, which obviously is a kind of good thing. But the 50,000 wasn't even really like with kitchen costs as well. So it's not like, oh, it's 20,000 to 50.
Yeah.
It was like 50 plus 20.
So what we were told is that £2,000 per square meter is pretty industry standard. Is that what you found?
2.5.
Yeah, 2 to 2.5.
Well, only because I knew that I would be, because it's obviously to do with like, well, what sort of sockets are you going to have? What switches are you going to have? Are you going to have antique brass, or are you going to have plastic? If you're going to be having antique brass and doing all that sort of stuff, then it's 2.5 to 3 grand per square meter. If you're keeping it really simple, like absolute bog standard, then yeah, maybe 1.5 to 2 if you find the right builder.
It's hard though. It's hard when you take on a project like this and you have no idea what industry standard. I know what industry standard for a lipstick is. I know what industry standard for my like $10.99 for a mascara. It's pretty cheap. Happy with that. But if someone went to a guy friend of mine and was like, oh, this mascara is £50, that's normal, he'd be like,
Okay.
okay, yeah,
I understand.
sounds like a good one. I'll get it for her birthday. But do you know what I mean? So when I called up a builder and I had my plans, I was really eager. So before we had the keys, I said, can you give me a quote like for this extension? I'm talking like I need to know whether, and I said, I don't need to know exact, but just give me a ballpark, like 1,000, like 5,000, 10,000. And he laughed down the phone at me because he was like, you're looking at like 30 grand. But when you have no idea, it's so hard to know what's a good quote, what's not. And obviously they say you can get 3 quotes, but
Minimum.
like 50 grand, you're just like, that's just a plucked figure out of thin air. That's like, I have no idea if that's decent. Well, you've got your dad.
I have my dad. I
That
also
is
have
helpful.
ChatGPT.
Having someone in
Yeah.
the industry is definitely helpful.
Yeah, he was the one that told me about, well, I mean, his stuff is slightly outdated because obviously everything he's done is a couple of years
So
ago, and obviously
it's-
prices have gone up so much.
Every
Everything's
year
gone
on
up
year,
crazy.
it completely changes.
Yeah. So
Which is
Never
mad.
ever buy a house when you think that the prices are from a few years ago. Like when we got ours, everyone was like, oh my God. Like we had a budget of 200 grand to do up the house. And we were like, oh, okay, yeah, we can extend it. We can do this. We can rip the whole thing out. And bear in mind, our house like needs everything doing. So, you know, maybe it was ambitious. And then like my dad was so pent up on the idea that we would be able to do everything for that and have spare change. And we're here like way over budget already.
Yeah.
And we haven't extended and we haven't done anything. And that's because all the cost of materials since COVID and Brexit and everything has gone up so much that that's only 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So in the grand scheme of life, like your dad, for example, property developer, has done it loads. But if he hasn't done one in the last few years,
Yep.
your whole view will be totally
yeah,
skewed.
and cost of living so much worse now. So obviously, like a builder that is actually good will obviously charge more, and they might
You
be able to
want
get
that.
it done. Yeah, you want the
Yeah.
person who's going to be good. I was completely in charge of hiring my builder, and I could have completely used my family's connections in the sense of saying, sounded very gangster. I could have used like, oh, is there anyone that you recommend? Like, is anyone good? But I just kind of wanted to do it on my own. And I kind of wanted to have it as like my person, and I feel like I'm quite a good judge of character, so I kind of rested my laurels a little bit on that. And I went out and got loads of quotes, and I got loads of like contacts, and like I did speak to loads of people. At the end of the day, I only had, I think probably only 3 literal guys come round my house, because obviously I've messaged 7, 4 of which never came. Well, 2 of which maybe never ghosted me, 2 of which never came, and
They
then
often
3 who
don't show up,
finally
actually.
Yeah.
came. And the problem I had was 2 of them, I had a previous idea. Well, obviously I was going to do an extension and stuff like this. So finally, when I got this guy around, I'd already kind of realised that the extension was kind of out of the option. So I said, okay, what happens if I knock the wall down? What costs are we looking at there? And obviously the cost that he gave me was like the 1,000 versus the 30,000, right? So I'm like, well, okay. And I'm desperate to get going. He came, he seemed really sweet. He was very kind of chatty. He talked to me. He wasn't like, he didn't seem, actually, to be fair to him, he was never misogynistic throughout the entire experience we had with him. He never.
Misogyny and being useless doesn't always have to be in the same category.
No, they don't, definitely
But it's
don't.
also funny that it's such a mentionable trait that someone is not actually misogynistic. Pat on the
wow,
back.
good
Congratulations
job. Wow.
for doing the absolute bare minimum of not actually being a dickhead.
But I think I hear that so often when builders, and I just think like, oh, fair enough, actually, you weren't. But basically his quotes, or whatever he actually quoted for, I ended up spending about double, because everything was like, oh, I didn't realise you actually wanted me to plaster that. Oh, I didn't realise you actually wanted me to do that. The floor's low down. Do you want it up high? Well, yeah, obviously, otherwise it wouldn't meet. Oh, well, that's an extra, So I ended up spending double what I thought on this one guy. Now, it might have just been that he just...
Didn't understand.
Because I didn't understand. I didn't have hindsight. I wasn't like, when you come and build this wall, what you'll also need to do is put the plasterboard on.
Yeah.
And you'll need screws for that. Like, I didn't fucking lay it out because I thought that's your job. You'll tell me what I need.
Yeah, you tot up all the materials.
So if you tell me what the job's going to be
doing.
from start to finish, if you're going to tell me it's $4,000, I'll have $4,000 rating for you. Oh, you want me to actually come in a car? Oh, well, that's petrol. So... that's extra. Well, whatever else is extra? So yeah, it ended up being like, I think I double checked the other day. I think I spent $9,000 on this guy. 1,000 of that was actually straight to the steel. He paid the steel guy, so he didn't get that 1,000. And obviously some of it was
What
materials.
was it meant to be?
What was the initial quote that you were like, sounds great?
About 4.
That's insane.
My
4 or 5.
granny says all the time, whenever we do anything, she's like, check that quote. Has it got everything on it that you want on it? Because she always says they're going to pile this on at the end. They're going to say, I didn't know you wanted this. She said, does it include plastering? Does it include plasterboarding? Does it include this? Does it include that? And I never would have, to be honest, a lot of the time I have just been like, yeah, no, it's all good, thanks. And just not actually checked. But that story is the kind of thing where you're like, yeah, you have to check everything.
I wrote that scope. I told him what everything I needed him to do. So at least I actually had, if I hadn't done that, I would have been way more screwed. But at least I had that to back myself and be like, I actually mentioned that. I mentioned the skip. I mentioned this. It was in the original email. So therefore you are covering it with that quote that you gave me, because that is what I gave him. But obviously still to that, like even little things that I just missed were things that he was able to up the price
But then
for.
extra stuff like, so in our house we got a floor put down, concrete floor, and then the foundations underneath the floorboards that were there needed redoing. There's sometimes unexpected costs that like come out and they wouldn't have been able to see it, but not doing the like basic stuff.
You want your kitchen plastered that I'm doing for you. Like that's
Obviously.
obvious.
I get it where it's like, oh, are you going to do the skirting or are we going to do it? Because it's kind of like, well, I've already talked about how I'm really DIY and I'm going to, that's a good way for me to do it. So I lose costs. I get that. But this was getting to the point where it was like genuine, actual normal things that probably needed to be done.
I suppose it's difficult because I'm just sat here thinking, well, for like listeners or people that are thinking, okay, so I get that. But what do? I don't know what I'm supposed to have. So how do I get around it if I'm speaking to an expert? And you have to lay a certain amount of trust in them to be like, this is the end goal I want. How can you get me there? And without having the expertise to know that you need plastering, skirting, this,
or
which
contact.
I didn't.
Yeah.
All I can think of is ChatGPT.
Yeah,
and just put it in ChatGPT.
Because they're
what do I need
unbiased and they're not
itemised?
going to try and take the piss out of you. Because the thing as well is that if you don't do that and you literally go, okay, well, I'm going to ask you for everything I'm going to need from this brick wall to this perfect plaster, here's a Pinterest picture.
Yeah.
They will do it.
Yeah.
But they'll automatically make it more expensive. There's probably things in there that you can do, or things that you can do at like they'll say, oh, you have to have fiberglass. Actually, you don't need fiberglass. You know what I mean? So again, it's kind of like actually what you, in a dream world, and this isn't answering your question at all, in a dream world, you would go, and this is what like my dad would do. Someone who's been doing it for years and years, they'd write out a scope. They'd already know all the cheaper options of things to do. They may say, oh, can I have quotes for both? So if I want aluminium windows, which I know are more expensive but more gorgeous and come in pure black, that's the cost. But what does it look like if it's UPVC? UPVC never is black. It's more of a browny black. So it's not as good, but it's so much cheaper. So maybe I'll get that cost just in case. You know this stuff. so you can lay it all out. If you don't know this stuff, I actually do think ChatGPT could actually, you'd have to fact check it.
Yeah, if it was me, I'd probably say, ChatGPT, I want to knock a wall down in my kitchen.
What are all the stages?
What can you give me an itemized list of materials and also the stages of the process to take me through from back to brick to a fully fledged kitchen,
and some variables and potential problems that might occur, because this is what I was talking about is, you know, we're talking about like how much an extension was going to be.
Yeah,
that was very much on the basis of, like you say, well, let's say it's $2,000 per square meter. Well, it's a X by X square meterage. No, because you've also got to knock down the wall between. Then you've ruined plaster, and okay, well, what are you going to do with the floorboards? You're going to rip those floorboards up so you can lay a whole thing. Okay, well, that floor that you're now laying isn't the size of the small extension that you're building. It's now the full size of the entire room. So that's
it cascades very quickly, doesn't it?
Your little 2x2 by times it by 2 doesn't work anymore.
I also think something that's really important and that you sort of skimmed over, which I'm quite surprised at, is recommendations. Because so we ended up using an architect, and next time I wouldn't use one, but we really needed one for this time round because we had no idea what we were doing.
No.
So actually we ended up getting our builder and structural engineer through the architect, and they're both, touch wood, brilliant so far. And if you'd use contacts from your uncle or your dad or someone else locally, neighbours, anyone who's worked with people before, maybe actually not your dad and your uncle because they're builders or in that industry, but say
someone
I get mine
beginner
done,
friendly.
then I'm like, actually they were really good with me even though I didn't know what I was doing. Then you could be like, okay, cool, I'll reach out to them. And you're I think recommendations are so important, but I wouldn't say it's like check a trade, because we had a few things on our old flat, and sometimes it works out great, but sometimes it doesn't. Those reviews aren't always something that you can trust.
No.
And I don't know why, but we got a bathroom redone in an old place, and honestly it was awful. And they had 10 out of 10 reviews.
Yeah.
So real people reviews that you actually know in real life, I think are worth their weight in gold, especially if the person who is recommending it to you is at a similar level to you or a similar understanding, because all of us would have a similar level of understanding of how to do things, and therefore that tradie will probably be good for you.
My mum's godson is our roofer, and our surveyor picked up, Arlo wants some Pims. Our surveyor picked up we needed roof work done, and mum said, well, you know, Louis another Louis is a roofer. So I went to him, checked the roof, one thing, but my second point was, what can you give me some recommendations for anyone else on this project?
But
because
also
I have no
red
idea.
flags, because you don't know what you're looking at. There might be something that's really obvious to a roofer, but yeah. Oh, well, that is something, Frank. Don't know where it is. There you go. We've got our red flags.
Are they still here? I feel like I've lost mine somewhere.
I don't actually know if this is an appropriate red flag thing.
No. Oh, I could have used it earlier.
Nearly.
He doesn't comprehend cameras, so he has no idea that it'd be really cute if he turned around right now.
What's that? Take it to Frank. Oh my gosh.
Arlo thinks it's a red flag. He made the executive decision.
So I have a question for you, because today's episode is all about me, and I clearly haven't heard enough nice things about me. I wanted to ask, why do you follow me, or at least why do you think my followers follow me?
So my first video that I came across of Dots was her laying her floor, and when I mentioned in our last episode that you're a household name, I wasn't lying, because it was just the girl that laid her own floor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before Dot reached out, I knew who Dot was. I'd seen her on TikTok, because I was chronically on TikTok before I was on Instagram. So I'd seen Dot on TikTok before, and on TikTok you're not as present as you are on Instagram. So I hadn't seen the whole shebang, but I had just seen the floor laying.
So you saw my TikTok of my floor being laid?
Yeah.
Did I do much coverage of that on TikTok?
It was the one where you were like, this is how to please your man.
Oh,
you lay your floor.
That was the one.
That was the one.
Oh, I like that.
I was thinking when you said lay my floor, I was thinking you meant my kitchen floor, but you meant my living room floor. Not that you know.
Yeah, it was the living room floor. You guys know my ethos and who I am, and that was it resonated with me as not single, the fact that obviously you are married, but like a singular person, a woman, taking on such a huge job by herself, and it looked phenomenal, the end result. And I was just like, I'm not on Renotalk. I'm not on that side of things. And
actually, yeah, now knowing you don't watch anything, it's quite surprising that you even found Dot.
Yeah, was it because it had a little bit of feminist energy?
Yeah, it was because of the feminist energy. It broke through to my algorithm of brain rot and skibbity toilet riz that, like,
I need to see your For You page, and I'm going to be shocked.
Isn't it that they say that if you open up Instagram and you'd go to like where all of like the discover, you can learn a lot about someone.
Is your Instagram like that, or is it just TikTok?
Well, my personal Instagram is nothing to do with Reno, but the house account is Reno because all I ever do is post on it.
Oh no, I mean the brain rot stuff. Is that on your Instagram as well?
I don't ever go on Instagram Reels. So my Instagram algorithm is nothing. Like, I don't even know what it would come up with. But my TikTok algorithm is just silly.
So wow, that's quite a
So you broke through. You really did.
I'm very proud of myself.
And it was just that, like, it was that feminist energy that I really resonated with, and I was like, this is really cool. What she's doing is really cool, and she's breaking the mold. She's doing something different. And I kind of felt like, hang on a minute, this is like a sister in arms. This is someone else doing something that I'm also doing, and doing it a lot better than I am, actually, because I've got no idea what I'm doing, but this girl actually looks like she kind of knows what she's talking about. So maybe I should listen to her, because I'd rather take it from you than take it from a man. So
did I ever tell you where that video came from? Like, what inspired it?
No.
So
I never talked to you about it.
There is an account, a guy who's huge, he's done really well. And he totally didn't mean to. And I think he actually did put in his caption, like, obviously women can do this too. Like, but it was very much an afterthought. Mm-hmm. You should watch the video. And I can tell you now, he didn't mean it to be this, like, men. But it literally was, like, he makes comments about how, like, oh, and lads, like, if you didn't know, if you do this, your wife will look at you differently in, like, a really hot way. Like, he was saying things like this, and he wasn't taking the piss. It's just so, he can do it so well, and his wife is too busy, raising his children, and she's not interested in laying paths or laying floor or building a kitchen or whatever, which is fine. Some women aren't into it. Cool. So that he is so used to this idea that it's a man's job to lay a path, that the way he did the whole video
Wasn't it
was
like, it's so sexy that I'm doing this, your wife's gonna love it.
Yeah.
Was it satire?
No. It really was.
A lot of people took the piss out of it, though, I think.
Yeah.
Like, it obviously John included. But it was, I remember seeing the initial one and being like,
it really actually kind of slightly rubbed me the wrong way, because I was a bit like, wait, you mention it so kind of blasé, and you don't use the term anyone could do this, or people could do this, or as long as you've got this tool you can do this. It was very much like, all right, and then when you get home from dinner, your wife would have made you a lovely dinner. It was so
did people give you backlash off the back of your one, even though yours was a piss take?
No, I had a few people being like, a few men being like, don't know why I find this really hot.
You've missed the point, babe.
And then I had, like, because I made a little bit of a joke about, the floor looks so good that your man might even offer to hoover or something. And I had a few people being a bit like, I hoover the floors more than my wife does. And I'm like, okay, mate, like,
yeah,
give you a medal.
Yeah, right. But that's actually really interesting, because I was really worried I was going to get a bit of hate from the guy who did it, because I was poking at him. And I think I had, like, a very brief encounter with him where he kind of, like, I think he did a bunch of fire emojis or something underneath it to be like, whoa, like, cool. And I'm like, yeah, I think I was sort of poking fun at your video. But
what I also loved about it, completely non-Reno related, was the confidence you had in that video. That I really was like, she's not just doing this, but like, aside from the Reno, like, you were so confident in the way that you were presenting yourself and the way that you were doing things, and I love nothing more than a strong woman. So, like, it was just something about it that I was just like, this is the kind of girl that I think I could get along with. Didn't actually know that I'd be sat on the sofa with her. Didn't actually know that we'd actually get along.
When was that, like 6 months ago?
Yeah, it's all happened very quickly.
So I also found you on TikTok.
That's so weird. It's like
yeah,
the least...
but then again, both of us were on TikTok
Well,
before,
yeah, that's right.
really.
You weren't actually on
Yeah, I
Instagram.
wasn't
So
on
I
Instagram.
didn't really scroll on Instagram. I do follow probably in my real life about 10 house accounts that I've followed for years. I've already mentioned like 3 of them on this podcast. But you popped up and I remember thinking, oh, she's very polished. And then I looked at your account and you had like, I don't know how many followers, but
Not
you didn't
very
have very many followers. And I was like, and I'd seen
I
it
thought
on a
the same
different person
thing.
before where on TikTok they had bugger all followers, and then you look at them on Instagram and they've got loads of followers, and that was the case with you as well. So I did look you up on Instagram, and I saw you as well on TikTok because both of you tagged yourself as Bournemouth or Dorset, and I wasn't. I mean, now everyone knows, obviously, but like
Cat's out the
I
bag.
wasn't really saying that I was there. So I think it pushes that sort of content, which is probably why you two found each other as well more than others, is because you tagged the location that you're in.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, she's local. But I had like no followers and I knew that you had loads on Instagram and I was a bit like intimidated. But that's how I found you looking. I think you were in your alcove cupboard. No, maybe it was in your bathroom cupboard, but the camera was inside the cupboard and you opened it and you had your tape measure out or something and you were like faffing around.
Oh, that was
which
when
is
I
apt.
just got my very expensive camera, which I
Oh,
don't
was
use
it?
as much as I
Yeah.
should. And
Yeah.
It
I
looked
just
really high quality.
yeah, for about 2 weeks, I had so much motivation. I was like creating content every single day. I was creating like storyboards and like I was scripting it all while doing my
Really?
full-time job because I was just so
such a
motivated, and it just
nerd.
literally went "Ugh," like that afterwards. Because what I learned is I did about 2 or 3 of these really high quality videos with like stories and scripts and different angles and like full on like Frank would be proud, like really cinematic. And then they just didn't do very well. Like I was expecting like, you know, amazing. But then I was posting them to, yes, Instagram, but also TikTok. Which don't give a shit about your quality. Like actually,
TikTok
the worse
doesn't.
quality, the better.
I think there's a line, like if you've got really poor lighting, and I've seen accounts that are filmed clearly on like poor quality phones, like Android phones. Android stands, literally give it a rest, please.
To be fair, my old phone was an iPhone when I first started doing it, and now I look back at that content and it's way worse.
Yeah,
but I think it's so much more. I think you could have bad quality content, but if your voiceover is snappy and quick and interesting, I think you get away with
I don't know if
it.
it's my judgment, but when I look at a video, the things I'm looking out for when I scroll is the likes and comments. Is there something I need to watch here? Is someone already engaged with this and people are clearly thinking there's something about it, I need to watch it. And the quality of their content, like the lighting, how pixelated it is, how clear it is, and those are that's my litmus test of whether I'm going to scroll on. And if it's not got many likes, but it's a really good quality shot, and I'm like, okay, these guys are polished. There's clearly something, they clearly do this.
But then I do think if it looks too professional, when it takes away from the authenticness of it, which maybe is what you hit. Because it all looked amazing, but it almost looks like an ad.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah.
And people don't like ads.
So you have to remember that I actually quit my job a couple of weeks ago. So I've actually forgotten. No, I haven't forgotten what I
But
do.
like, who's Dot outside of the Reno?
She doesn't
before?
exist. I don't know. I think I always wanted to be like my own boss, and I wanted to find a creative outlet that not only that I actually got up in the morning and was like, yeah, I want to do this, but I was able to be my own boss, but I also got kind of paid to do it. But the problem is that it's very hard to find something that you get paid to do where you're not being told what to do by someone else. So like with design and product design and app design and software design and graphic design, all this sort of kind of amalgamation of everything that I do, it can be a very well paid job, but you're always going to be doing it for someone else. So it's either going to be a client who has an app that wants it in a very certain way, so you're designing for that, or you're working in-house where there's already an entire brand system that someone's designed that you can't go from. So you're never going to really have your own ability. And if you did want to start up your own app, well, yes, that can make you loads of money, but then you need developers and you need all these other people to make it happen. You can't just be a designer. It's not the way it works. So I always kind of knew I was in a bit of a kind of rut, in the sense I was really good at my job, but the part of my job that I really liked was like more the behavioral sense. So when someone goes on an app, there's so many things that a designer will do to keep you on it or make you buy from it. Or, you know, for example, have you ever had those notifications where it's like, oh, something's in your basket? That's called user experience. That's UX. That's what I do. I'm the person who goes, right, we want a user to go from A to B. What are all the little design features or notifications or elements that we could incorporate to make them go that journey? And what you do is you do research to see where are they dropping off, Are they dropping off because of the price? Are they dropping off because the checkout system was too slow? Did they have to fill out their information 3 or 4 times and they just got bored? Is that where they dropped off? And that's a part of the job I really liked. So when I started doing content creation, I started kind of analysing. You know, when you sent me that voice note, say for context, we've all been in the place with our content creation where we've been in a rut and we were like, I don't know what's going wrong, like something's not happening. And Heather actually, right from the beginning, had a really good piece of advice. And she was like, oh, what I do is I've gone through my entire video log of all the things I've ever posted.
Couldn't believe this.
But
on
at the
Excel
time, that
sheet.
was like 30 videos.
Still. And I've gone into them and I've said what went well, what was in the first 30 seconds. And I've sort of analysed all the ones that have gone well. This is what the common features were, or what commonly happened. And that's what I do in a sense, but with kind of user flows and stuff. So I kind of immediately was like, yeah, I like this girl. She can stay. And so I've really enjoyed content creation in that way.
Is Arlo dying?
No, he's dreaming.
Oh.
Arlo's having a little dream. He's so used to hearing me talk about myself that he just falls asleep. Oh, no, he's
there you
awake
go.
now.
He's all
That's
good.
his
And that was a
safe space.
nightmare, actually. He woke up from it.
Oh, bless his cotton socks.
But yeah, so I've always liked that sort of understanding behavioral science of like why someone does something. So I've really enjoyed doing the content creation. And then I also have always loved kind of the shininess of brands. So then as soon as I was able to start actually working with brands and be creative with them, but on my own time and doing what I want to do, that got really exciting and I really pushed for that. And I was actually enjoying that. I remember waking up in the morning and if it was a Monday, I'd be like, oh, okay, I got to go to this job that I loved. I loved the job I did. I went to uni to do it. I loved that job. I chose to do it. I remember I've always said to Steph, who hates his job, he doesn't hate his job, he just doesn't do a job that he loves.
Yeah.
I've always said how lucky I am that I get to do my thing that I'm passionate about. Got this house, started creating content, went, oh, no.
I don't want to do this anymore.
This is now my passion. This is what I want to do. And so now the aim is to do this, not only the content creation full time, but then get another house after this, renovate it again, in the sense of maybe not spending too much money and only panel where we need to panel. And then keep doing that and then allow myself to work for myself, do the sort of creative stuff I actually like to do and make money from the reno.
Yep.
So that's what I want to now do. And it hasn't really answered like who I am as a person, but I think it's because I'm so engulfed in that,
Yeah, I believe it.
that if you want to talk to me about reno, as we have worked out today, I'll talk about it. I don't know what I would be doing if I wasn't doing up my house. I like going on holiday. And then that's why I like doing the house stuff, so that I can actually afford to go on holiday. I'm a big foodie, but I obviously can't eat half the menu.
Oh my God. I know
It's
that
tough.
I know that you would have been sad that you weren't in Parma, but Jesus, it was hard being with you. But more because I
For
felt bad
many
for
reasons.
you. Yeah, all the reasons. But no, it was just the food. I was like, because whenever I go away, I'm just like, oh, well, like, yeah, maybe there'll be a few restaurants I want to try. But like generally pop in, grab a sandwich, grab a thing, whatever, doesn't really matter. But then every single place, anytime we had to eat anything, we had to make sure that they could do it. And it's so difficult. I honestly feel so sorry for anyone who has that level of dietary requirement because it's just
It's
impossible
crazy
to
how
understand.
So many places are so not.
One of them had gluten-free granola. It was advertised as gluten-free.
Yeah.
Like, said it on the menu without
Yeah.
having to ask. And then don't ask and they're like, oh, we can't guarantee
Yeah.
it. I'm like, why? Don't put it on there then.
There's something called Natasha's Law. I believe it's Natasha's Law. And that means that they have to say may contain to cover their.
Yeah. Or what they now say is they say non-gluten containing ingredients or something.
Yeah, it's like they
okay.
have. So my mum is a celiac and she does go with may contain. If it says may contain, she'll eat it. But they went to an unnamed restaurant in Bournemouth recently, and she was like, "Oh, you're gluten free." They make gluten free pizza bases from scratch, and they put it in the same oven.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh yeah, we make gluten free pizza bases, but you can't eat it because it's in the same oven."
Yeah.
She's like, "Why do you go to the faff?
Yeah.
Why are you faffing around?"
I wouldn't
with...
be here if you hadn't advertised that.
Yeah, it's insane. But when you have dietary choices, like, this is not calling out anyone, but when you're vegan or vegetarian and it's more of a choice, and places cater
Arlo
more.
falling over there really cracked me up.
I told you that he'd just like decide that's where he wants to
got
lie in his
flummery
life.
flopped there.
It's on the one bit of floor that isn't got carpet. Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
when places cater more to dietary choices opposed to dietary needs, that's something that, because he's got 2 celiac kids, that really upsets him.
That's fair. Well, rejigging the conversation, why did you call it the faffing nest?
So my account's called the Faffing Nest because it's really simple, actually. When we found out we were going to buy the house that we're at now, I set up an Instagram account because I had already been told not to do that for the house that we were in at the time, because my dad didn't want the tools to be stolen or like for me to give my information out, which is fair enough, but at the end of the day it's my house. I can kind of do what I want to do. So as soon as this was like my property and my reno, I decided I wanted to set up an account. However, I was so eager. So we'd put in the offer in July for the house, and that's when I set up my account. So I wanted to think of a name that would suit me now when I'm going to be doing just, my current house, which is all completely renovated. I'll be styling shelves, and I'll be sort of talking about, I buy a lot of stuff from charity shops, so like, that sort of stuff. But also would have a good name for when we do move into the new property. It's still about reno and whatever. I won't say out loud what it was. It was actually this for a while. It was the name of my road, Nest. And that sounded really nice. The something Nest, whatever. And I didn't think about the implications of the fact that it's my literal address. It didn't cross my mind. I can
see why your dad stopped you from doing this.
No, he didn't. This wasn't the part that he's. Yeah, okay, I get it. And the nest is because a nest is a home, and the house that we've bought is like nestled in woods. So and I wanted something. I'm very English countryside. The surname that I want to have with my husband is kind of. I think it's very kind of.
For context, they're choosing a surname.
Oh yeah, we're not.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not taking Steph's name. That's why I'm still my surname and he's still his, because we're going to just change them both together.
I agree with that. I never want to take a man's name, but I had no idea that you were just choosing Princess Consuelo Banana Hammock.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Oh my gosh. Love it. Fair play.
So the one we've chosen is kind of English countryside-y sort of thing. So anyway, I really like that sort of style. Anyway, making my account, and it's great because I'm just doing styling. I'm just like buying things from charity shops and making it all pretty. I've got no reno stuff at all. And I'm also not talking about the house that much because I don't know if it's going to go through. But I'm loving creating an account. I remember like when I got my first 100 followers and it was like such a big deal and everything. I think I got to about 500 followers before I even moved into the reno project. Anyway, so about halfway through this, I've decided to start boosting my videos because I think they're doing quite well and I'd like to get a bit more. And at the time, Meta only charged you the normal fee. They didn't charge you the extra fee. So I remember putting about £24 a month towards a boosted reel.
Okay.
And it did help. Yeah, it did. Like it did gain me. Now I've tried doing it. You pay 24, but then you've got to pay like another 20 on top. So it's like £48 for what would have only cost you £28, and I can't bear to do that. So I used to do this. I was about to boost it and it said, "Nuh-uh, you can't. There's something wrong with your account." And basically, some point my Facebook that I had used had been hacked, and because I'd obviously reported that, it now for some reason was not letting me boost stuff from it. So the only way to solve this was to delete the account, completely delete it, and start again. So I started again.
Gutting.
I can't remember how many followers I had at this point. Less than 500, but more than 100. And that's when I changed it to the faffing nest, because I couldn't have the X, what it was before nest, because obviously I'd done a few reels where I had been faffing about, and that's a very common thing that we say in my household of like, "Oh, I'm faffing about." We've said it a few times today even, like it's very down south, a normal thing. But then what did
you find out what it actually meant in the end?
So when my dad came to fit the kitchen, I had a few more followers at this point. I think I had about 30,000. And I remember putting out on my stories like, "Hey guys, my dad's going to come down. What should we call him? Should we call him Daddy Faff, Papa Faff, or the Faffing Dad?" Right? Like I thought they were all very good options. And I had a few people in my DMs being like, "Girl, just by the way, up north, faffing means wanking. So that's daddy wank, papa wank, or the wanking dad." that you have just put out on your stories. I'm like, okay.
So ridiculous and hilarious.
The
That's how you found out.
I know. I kind of wish I'd just gone ahead with it, but no. So I did tell my dad, I was like, yeah, do you want to be called this? And he was like, absolutely not. So he's just
I could never say that
Dot's dad.
to my dad. I can't.
What?
It's a good relationship you have.
Yeah. It was a good laugh. But he was like, absolutely not. We are not calling me that. But yeah, so that's why I am the faffing nest. And a few people have asked me if I'm ever going to change it, because I could change it to like Dot's house or like Dot's Reno or the house of Dot or something. But I don't know. I think people know me as the faffing nest, and I think
You've created a bit of a brand with it, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those names, a bit like my actual name, Dot. The reason why every time I start a new school or uni or college or whatever, in the first couple of weeks, I'm actually very popular. People will stop me and be, oh, hi, Dot. And the reason I learned that this is because I'm quite loud, so people do kind of know me. I often tell people my name, I like introduce myself, and so they learn my name. And instead of it being a name that maybe could be forgotten, it's such a smacks you in the face, like, what? Your name's Dot? That's not an easy name to forget. And then obviously tie it with me and who I am and quite loud. You haven't really made an actual assumption of whether you like me or not, but you'll remember me at least. So then when you start a new school where you don't know anyone, you know Dot at least. So people would, oh, right, how you doing?
The OG B-knock.
Yeah.
The Dot knock.
Dot knock.
And so then the faffiness, I think, has the same slight appeal to it, where I've noticed that if I follow someone, I often get them to follow, like I often see that they follow me straight back. And I think it's because what happens is they're just looking through their like comments and follows and whatever, and they see the faffing nest has followed you, and they're like, what kind of fucking weirdo has that name? Clicks on me and goes, oh, they're into DIY and Reno. I'll follow them back. So yeah, that is why I'm called the faffing nest.
I love it. All right. This is labelled Q&A, but it isn't a question. It's actually from a YouTube comment that was on mine. I want to say our, but it's not our vlog. It's mine and Miles's vlog last week. From the lovely Kathy. I'm going to give Kathy a shout out. It's one of Miles's sister's best friends. So very much appreciate your comment. But I thought it was crazy because we've talked a lot about how at DIY stores, like Heather and Dot have had like aggy comments, and from tradies, people don't look at us and things. But she's the same as us, I think, where she'll run the Reno at least mainly. And she was getting some building work done. And she came downstairs and the builder said to her, oh, perfect. We need a woman. And they asked her how the dishwasher worked. And I'm just like, I just saw this and just had to share, because I think that's like a whole nother level where it's like, oh, okay, your only worth is the washing up.
And it's not even like it's, oh, perfect, we need the house owner, the owner of this house, or, oh, perfect, we need, the boss here. It's literally they've used the word a woman, when you can only assume that her husband, or assuming she has a husband, but anyone else in that house would also know,
should also know,
how to use a dishwasher. Also, who the hell doesn't know how to use a dishwasher?
My brother. No, he does.
But yeah, I just thought that was insane. I couldn't believe it when she said that.
Yeah, but like couldn't believe it, but also absolutely can believe it.
Yeah, you're
like
right.
So textbook.
Yeah.
So textbook. The number of times, like in chit chat colloquially, people have said, get in the kitchen, make me a sandwich vibes. Not on Renos, not on site, none of my tradies. But I'm just saying like that, oh, women are only good for cooking and knowing how cleaning. What are you going to get your mum for Mother's Day? Like when brands post things like when it comes around to Mother's Day and they're so excited because it's their chance to be like, get your mum a Hoover.
Yeah.
And you've got those 1950s ads. Nothing's ever changed. I was thinking of them
too. Yeah, nothing's changed. And they fall into that quite easily, don't they?
But I feel like any woman, whether it's Reno or not, has a story like that.
This is a joke. Like they're
Exactly.
making a joke, but it's not it's not appropriate.
This is what I always say. If you have to make fun of someone to be funny, you're not funny. You're not witty. That wasn't an intelligent repartee. That was just like a bit of a shit joke that wasn't very funny. And the other people in the room are going to laugh because they're also not very funny. Like to be funny, you just don't have to make fun of people to be funny. Yeah. And you don't have to pick out the person in the room that's had that shit said to them time and time again. Like that's such an easy quip and it's not funny. Like when comedians say things like, oh, we can't say anything nowadays. Just try and be funny. Just actually be funny. Don't just make fun of people.
Yeah, All right, so we've got shout out of the week. We didn't do this last week, so I'm just going to explain the concept. I mean, it's pretty simple. We are each going to take turns over the weeks to shout out another Reno account or another person that we follow. It doesn't even need to be Reno related, but to begin with, I think we will. And I was tasked with finding somebody, and it was very easy, actually. I had just seen, and this was from last week, so it was a week or two ago that I found this. Mo and the Jungle Shelf had posted a before and after, and I'll give it to Frank to put up on the screen because it is insane, of the front of his house. So it went from this sort of 1960s 70s house with like lots of varying textures on the front to this absolutely gorgeous like white off-white rendered front, and he had like a little side gate that was an archway, and he's made it like a really lovely deep pink, and I absolutely love it. And I didn't realize he was also the guy who had tiled his back garden. So in his back, sort of similar to yours where you've got like a corner in your garden, it's got like tiles all over it, and I already loved that. So as I dug deeper, I was like, oh my god. And then we show up at the Karcher event and he's there.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to give him a big old shout out because I think
in real life.
what he's doing is really, really cool.
No,
and
it's really cool.
Yeah, I wanted to give him a shout out there.
So it's Heather's episode next. We're going to be talking all about your flat, why you've got it, and everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any questions for Heather, make sure you let us know. You can do that by leaving a review on this episode on Spotify or anywhere else, but mainly leaving a review on Spotify will really help us. And also, if you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, the one that you're seeing right now, if you are watching my face right now, go and press subscribe. It helps us out a lot. We have a few episodes planned, but then after that, it's basically down to whether you guys like this episode, whether we can carry on. So you hold the cards. If you like what we're doing, if you want to see more of Arlo, you want to see more of us three, then like, subscribe, follow, comment, send a carrier pigeon, anything you can do to tell Mike and Frank that you like us would be great.
Mike and Frank. Who's Mike?
This and Frank. Oh, and Miles is here too.
I thought you got Miles's name wrong.
Thank you so much for thank you so much for listening, everybody. And yeah, as Dot said, please like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. It really does help us out. Obviously, we're all brand new here. We're not relying on celebrity status like a lot of the podcasts I listen to are. So any love would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, and see you next week. Bye.